Hello everyone, I'm Lisa and currently applying to the IE University in Madrid. My course would be Communications at my campus in Segovia. This is the part of the application where you have to express yourself, and I chose the question number 8, where you can choose what you want to answer. So I picked, how do you envision the future? Which is close to question number 4, but I explain later. So behind this door is how I envision the future. Come on, I'll take you there. Education. What's that gonna look like? Let's see. School is gonna be like it's nowadays. Everyone's gonna go and everyone's gonna have experience. Some are gonna love it, but some are still gonna hate it. In order to fight against pollution, children are only gonna be taken to school by buses or bicycles, and of course by foot. In about 100 years, when we've gone through the whole computer homeschooling and convenience food coming from hyper-technical machines phase, education is going to eventually go back to the way it is now, because people are going to realize that it's already at its best and that no computer can teach you what the best teacher in school can teach you. A computer won't tell you how to interact with your classmates, or how to fall in love for the first time. It will only teach you how to become a machine, and it will make life cold and unpersonal. However, not everything is going to be the same. Education is going to play more in the present. Everyone has to and deserves to know about what is actually going on in the world. It is just as important to learn how to be eco-friendly and respectful to the planet we're living on than to know about long-gone wars. Alright, time to see what's going to happen to our energy production. Let's go! All over the world, solar panels and wind turbines are going to be used. Even though they maybe don't make our nature and cities prettier, they do save the world and are effective. The waste produced will be recycled so that oceans and the air can be cleaner. Thanks to our yet to come technical development, written work will become electronical, which will finally put an end to deforestation. Like in Germany, nuclear power plants will be shut down and cars will drive on green energy only. Eventually, this will all cause an end to acid rain and burning fuels. Glad you still are with me. Our next step is to look at what's going to happen to food supply, the way we eat, fast food, etc. Here we go. Enjoy the ride. Bio and being healthy are going to be the new trend. Over the years, protesters will manage to boycott fast food and convenience food as it causes diabetes, overweight and other diseases that cause early death. Fair trade and ecologically treated products will take over, and due to higher demand, prices will fall, which will make healthy food available for anyone. Alright, so after having discussed food, our next point of discussion is transport. After many years of experimentation, cars will be able to drive by themselves. But that will come to an end because the world and its inhabitants are going to come to the conclusion that they cannot take their missions any further, as people will die of lung cancer and more children will be born with asthma. Scientists will go back to cars driving with green energy and become extremely successful with that, as they figure out a cheaper and more effective way to produce them. Furthermore, will public transportations increase in importance as they decrease pollution and end traffic jams, accident, belatedness for important interviews and more. The government will put a law that only allows green cars and public transports. Planes and ships are still going to travel around the world, but using them is going to become a privilege. Not because of their prices, but because biodegradable oil is going to be used with caution. Even though it is a limitless source, it shouldn't be used like one. My futuristic idea is that the oceans will be clean for fish to live in, and the air fresh for us to breathe. High hopes? Maybe, but I believe in it. I believe in us. Woohoo! I've never really done something like this, guys. Okay, we're on the way to the next step of my future, which is animals. How we treat them, what we do with them, how we eat them. I really think it's something to discuss because it really breaks my heart sometimes. Take a look at these animals, the ones we eat in the street. We feed them until they can't walk anymore, just so we have more than enough meat. We rip their skin off so that our coats look more expensive and our blankets are softer. We let them bleed to death so that we can be warm. And we keep our eyes closed, ignore the terrible videos that show us what actually happens. Close our ears to the crying of the dying. We go ahead and say we won't buy reefer anymore, until we run into the next store to spend hundreds of euros on more. Our supermarkets are full of meat that no one has time to completely eat. Chicks are born and killed 2 weeks later, just so we can go to fill our full stomachs with some more nuggets. Dogs are misused and cats even eaten, but you don't care. You don't mistreat them. At least that's what you say when you have a bad day. You only buy what the government gives you. But doesn't that mean that you are the killer? After millions of animals will have died for our own purposes, and the seas will be fished empty, the world is going to regenerate and life will come back. Animals will be protected and only used with caution. No being in this earth will have to suffer. Farmers will take loving care and meat will be eaten once a week. Rules have to and will be imposed. Mistreating any animal will break laws. The use of real fur will be absolutely forbidden, and anything we eat will only be produced biologically and animal-friendly. Alright, so after having discussed animal abuse, our next step in my future, which we're gonna have to look at, is human security and governmental control. Here we go, and don't get offended. It is hard to think that one day we'll have the perfect state controls, and probably not even possible, but there are things that'll change. In my future, everything treated by governments will be open to the public. It cannot be that so many important things happen in this world without most of us knowing about. Countries will eventually learn how to work together and help each other. The main importance and point of discussion will be the well-treatment of the earth and its less fortunate inhabitants. Of course, in every country there has to be one person who leads the people, but this person should be kind and care only about the rights of the people and how to treat them fairly. Human rights and the protection of the environment will finally be the most important factors in the world. Dictatorships will be long forgotten and terror shall not exist anymore. In my future, no woman will be forced to marry at the age of 14, no war will be started over the oil reservoirs in Saudi Arabia, and no gay couple will be judged by the church. Countries and their presidents will be liberal, and the voice of the people will be the strongest. Workers will finally understand that governments only have power because of the people working for them. If they stop listening, then no president has any power. The rich are stronger because of the poor. Speaking of the wealthy, yes, even in my future there will be class differences, but not such extreme ones. The more fortunate ones will support the poor ones, but not like it's done nowadays. No person in the world will on purpose get 6 children and not find a job just because they know that they get support from the government to take money from the hardworking. The future will be a place where high illiteracy rates and unemployment won't exist. We will be treated fairly and not judged for looks or beliefs. It will be the most important to work together and make every point of discussion open to anyone. Freedom of speech and expression, human rights and environmental care, that's what will be happening in my future. I would be honored to live in a world like that. No lawyer, judge or police officer will be politically influenced or controlled. No person will be able to pay an advocate or hold a gun behind their head so that they say what they are forced to say. The laws and their representatives will be liberal and fair. Never in my future will the wrong person be put into jail because the real criminal has its way to influence the judge. If ever a person disrespects the human rights, they disrespect the world they are living in and will receive the punishment they deserve. The world we are living in right now has too many problems and differences, and it can never be peaceful. In the future, if every person is treated fairly and our leaders rule their countries with passion and a clear mind, there won't have to be assassins. The world will be peaceful. If children grow up in a safe, loved world, they won't turn into psychologically problematic people and won't have to murder anyone who disrespects them. If you're still watching this, it means that you haven't quit my application yet, and I want to say thank you for that. This is an explanation to the question I chose, and after that I'll be done. I know I'm coming very close to question number 4, which is how do you envision the city of the future? And that is because I enjoy thinking about what might happen. I did, however, feel like my thoughts concerned more the world in general and not only the cities. And that's simply it. I hope you enjoyed, agreed or disagreed, and maybe could follow through with my application. Thank you very much for your time.
Any town of any thought, I'll be your guide. For every street of any scene, any place you've never been, I'll be your guide. Lily, no, there's still a place for people but right.